very special lady has to say. Patricia Cook is back with us again.
Hi,
Hello.
it's good to see you.
This year, by the way, where we broadcast from is the second highest area of the country for tick-borne diseases. Things like Lyme disease, etc. It got its name, by the way, from Lyme, Connecticut, which is where it was first discovered and where the biggest outbreaks still are. With all the wet weather that we had during the winter, they're saying that our tick season may be the worst it's ever been.
I don't doubt it.
You bring to us a tick solution that is not a poison I've got to worry about for me, my dogs, my
Right.
grandbabies. This is really highly effective. And she gives us a kit that protects up to a 1/4 acre of land
For a year.
for 1 year. Let's start with this. Who is Thermacell?
So Thermacell has been around for a while. They were a leader in insect control and repellency. Many of us know them from the mosquito repellers. And so when this whole tick thing started to evolve and become big, they went to top researchers at Harvard and said, how do we help control ticks that may cause Lyme disease in and around people's homes?
But cut down on the chemical footprint
Right.
in our homes and our backyards as well.
Right, so they wanted to do it in an easy, simple, effective way. And what they found out from Harvard was the common carrier to the deer tick is the field mouse, which we have all around our homes.
You don't have to live near a field.
Nope. And they're the host. So without the mouse, the deer ticks couldn't survive. So we target the mouse, that is the carrier, by placing these tubes around your home.
But we don't injure the mouse.
Nope. So the mouse is going to collect just a small amount of this cotton. You know, they're little hoarder gatherers. They line their nest, and very quickly the ticks die and fall off. And they breaks the cycle for this season, this right now, putting this down in May, of the nymphs that are the biters. When we put them down again in July, we put the other 6 tubes down, and then you get the larvae that have hatched into the biters at that time.
Because ticks cannot travel on their own a very far distance. They need public transit in the form of mice.
And it's the mice. It's amazing. They actually become your friend. You never would have
yeah.
thought that, but they are the carrier and the host. And by killing the ticks that are on them, it keeps them from coming out into our yards. So this is so simple because the cotton is treated. I'm touching the tube.
You're getting 12 of these tubes, and they're cardboard tubes, but they're
They break
dressed
down.
up so that they look like lumber. And inside each one, if you look, is that cotton batting that mice look at and they go, oh,
Bed
king
lining.
size bed.
Exactly.
So they grab a little bit of it and they take it into their nest. So all you do is you drop these in your yard, maybe near a wood pile or near a fence line.
So you're putting this down really quickly. You go about 10 yards, which is 30 feet, and for me that's a step. So I walk every 30 feet.
Right.
I tuck a tube behind a wall, behind a fire, like firewood, by a shed, under a bush, and as quickly as you walk the perimeter of your yard, you're done.
That's it.
So you put it down now in May, you put it down again in July, that's twice a year. So that's not spraying my lawn and worrying about washing feeder paws off.
I agree.
Or all those things that are in there. And the treatment of those is repetitious. This is just twice a year, and we give you a full year for a 1/4 acre.
I've tried this, and when I first saw it, I thought, wow, that's really a neat idea.
It's smart.
Had no concept of how brilliant it was. Again, it was Harvard-trained scientists that came up with the idea.
Exactly, and Thermacell goes to them a lot because they are really sharp and they understand. They learned very quickly that the mouse was our host. The mouse goes and gathers that bedding and lines their bed.
And again, what's going to kill the tick does not injure the mouse.
No, it's a
That's
trace
really
amount,
important.
and
Yes.
those ticks are so tiny.
If your puppy dogs get into this or something, it won't matter. But the fact is, your puppy dogs probably won't.
They won't even
notice
bother
it.
it. I know when I put
My
mine
dogs
down,
didn't.
mine didn't bother with
and
it.
my dogs notice everything.
Tennis
So,
balls, yes.
I
not
was
these.
greatly surprised how it had reduced the number of ticks. I am not exaggerating one iota, where 2 years ago, every single night in the summer, my wife and I, and we had 5 dogs at that point.
Oh, wow.
Every single night, we had to sit down with all 5 of our dogs and go from the top of their head to the bottom of their tails and check for ticks. And every night we would find 1, 2, 3 ticks.
And these are so small.
Last summer, I may have found 2 or 3 ticks all year from
Because
our
of
own
this.
property.
I can't even say I found any. I felt that it really significantly cut it down for me, and it did give me that peace of mind that I was helping control in my perimeter the ticks that may cause Lyme. I didn't find any on my golden retriever or myself, but these are so small that they are hard to see, and this is the carrier.
The smaller the tick, the more dangerous the tick.
Right.
The ones that are big and gross and balloon up like a grape,
those aren't so much of an issue.
They're disgusting, but they're not the ones that make you sick.
These are the carriers. It's the ticks that are small, like the size of a poppy seed, that are carrying the Lyme disease. And this is like a whole year worth of product to put down, and you put it down simply, quickly, just around the perimeter of your home, about every 10 yards, which is 30 feet. You can see, just put it around, and the mouse comes and gathers it, and he is your friend. He's going to help combat the ticks in your yard.
It does, again, it doesn't hurt the mouse.
Nope.
The mice, they love this as bedding. I was surprised how fast the bedding would disappear out of the little tube.
Right, so they're just going to pull a little bit out and line it. And then when you go back, I almost used them as markers for the second time. When I put the second batch down in July, I knew right where I was before, and I stuck the next tube down, because these just sort of start to break down with weather.
It is a very logical solution. Today's the first day that we've ever been able to have this available on Easy Pay. So think of it this way. When you make that final payment on it, it's time to put your second batch out, and you'll have that second batch. This is for a full quarter of an acre.
So you just have to do the math. If you have a half acre, you'll need 2 boxes. If you have an eighth acre, you'll have enough for 2 years.
I'll tell you what, $29.20 to protect your family from ticks, that's one of the best investments you can make.
What would you pay for a service?
If you've ever had Lyme disease, man, I'll pay the $29 fast.
It's a great solution.
This is one of my favorite photographs. That is an extraordinarily talented squirrel.